Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. आप्यद्यनस्त्वं स्वकृते हितप्रभो जिहाससि स्वितसुहृदोऽनुजीविनः येषां न चान्यद्भवतः पदाम्बुजात् परायणं राजसु योजितां हसाम्.
Hare Krishna. Translation. O my Lord, you have executed all duties yourself. Are you leaving us today? Though we are completely dependent on your mercy and have no one else to protect us, now when all kings are at enmity with us.
केवयं नापरूपाभ्यां यदुभिः सह पाण्डवाः भवतो दर्शनं यर्हि ऋषिकाणामिवेशितुः.
As the name and fame of a particular body is finished with the disappearance of the living spirit, similarly, if you do not look upon us, all our fame and activities, along with the Pandavas and Yadus, will end at once.
नेयं शोभिष्यते तत्र यतेदानीं गदाधर त्वत्पदैरङ्किता भाति स्वलक्षणविलक्षितैः.
O Gadadhar Krishna, our kingdom is now being marked by the impressions of your feet, and therefore it appears beautiful. But when you leave, it will no longer be so.
इमे जनपदा स्मृता सुपक्वौषधिवीरुषदः वनाद्रिनद्युदन्वन्तो ह्येदन्ते तव वीक्षितैः.
All these cities and villages are flourishing in all respects because the herbs and grains are in abundance, the trees are full of fruits, the rivers are flowing, the hills are full of minerals, and the oceans full of wealth. And this is due to your glancing over them.
अत विश्वेश विश्वात्मन् विश्वमूर्ते स्वकेषु मे स्नेहपाशमिमं छिन्धि दृढं पाण्डुषु वृष्णिषु.
O Lord of the universe, soul of the universe, O personality of the form of the universe, please, therefore, sever my ties of affection for my kinsmen, the Pandavas and the Vrishnis.
त्वयि मेऽनन्यविषया मतिर्मधुपदे सकृत् रतिमुद्धता दद्धा गङ्गेवौघमुदन्वती.
O Lord of Madhu, as the Ganges forever flows to the sea without hindrance, let my attraction be constantly drawn onto you without being diverted to anyone else.
Shri Krishna Krishna Saka Vrishibanidrug Rajanyavamshadahananapavargavirya Govinda Godvijasurarti Haravatar Yogeshwara Guru Bhavan Namaste Bhagavan Namaste.
O Krishna, O friend of Arjuna, O chief among us, the descendants of Vrishni, you are the destroyer of those political parties which are disturbing elements on this earth. Your prose never deteriorates. You are the proprietor of the transcendental abode, and you descend to relieve the distress of the cows, the Brahmins, and the devotees. You possess all mystic powers, and you are the preceptors of the entire universe. You are the Almighty God, and I offer you my respectful obeisances.
Sutta Uvacha पृतयेत्तं कलपदै परिणुताखिलोदयः मन्दं जहास वैकुण्ठो मोहयन्निव मायया.
Sutta Goswami said, the Lord, thus hearing the praise of Kunti, sorry, can you bring it down? Oh, yeah. Sutta Goswami said, the Lord, thus hearing the prayers of Kunti Devi, composed in choice words for his glorification, mildly smiled. That smile was as enchanting as his mystic power.
ताम्बाडमित्युपामन्त्र्य प्रविश्य गजसाफ्ययं स्त्रियश्च स्वपुरं यास्यन् प्रेम्णा राज्ञा निवारितः.
Thus accepting the praise of Srimati Kunti Devi, Lord subsequently informed other ladies of his departure by entering the palace of Hastinapur. But upon preparing to leave, he was stopped by King Yudhishthira, who implored him lovingly.
व्यासादैरीश्वरेहाज्ञै कृष्णेनाद्भुतकर्मणा प्रबोधितोऽपितिहासै नाबुध्यत शुचार्पितः.
King Yudhishthira was much aggrieved, could not be convinced despite instructions by sages headed by Vyas and the Lord Krishna himself, the performer of superhuman feats, and despite all historical evidence.
आह राजा धर्मसुतश्चिन्तयन् सुहृदां वदं प्राकृतेनात्मना विप्रा स्नेहमोहवशं गतः.
King Yudhishthira, son of Dharma, overwhelmed by the death of his friends, was aggrieved just like a common materialistic man. O sages, thus deluded by affection, he began to speak.
अहो मे पश्यता ज्ञानं हृदि रूढं दुरात्मनः पारक्यस्यैव देहस्य बह्व्यो मे क्षीहिणीर्हता.
King Yudhishthira said, O my lord, I am the most sinful man. Just see my heart, which is full of ignorance. This body, which is ultimately meant for others, has killed many, many phalanxes of men.
बालद्विजसुहृन्मित्र पितृभ्रातृगुरुद्रुहः न मे स्यान्निरयान्मोक्षो ह्यपि वर्षायुतायुतैः.
I have Brahmins, well-wishers, friends, parents, preceptors, and brothers. Though I live millions of years, I will not be relieved from the hell that awaits me for all these sins.
नैन नैनो राज्ञ प्रजा भर्तुः धर्मयुद्धे वधो द्विषाम् इति मे न तु बोधाय कल्पते शासनं वचः.
There is no sin for a king who kills for the right cause, who is engaged in maintaining his citizens. But this injunction is not applicable to me.
स्त्रीणां मद्बत बन्धूनां द्रोहो योऽसाविहोत्तितः कर्म विग्रह मेधीयै नाहं कल्पो व्यपोहितुम्.
I have killed many friends of women, and I have thus caused enmity to such an extent that it is not possible to undo it by material welfare work.
यथा पङ्केन पङ्काम्ब सूरया वा सुराकृतं भूतहत्यां तथैवैकां न यज्ञैमाष्टुमर्हति.
As it is not possible to filter muddy water through mud, or purify a wine-stained pot with wine. It is not possible to counteract the killing of men by sacrificing animals. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhuji and Mataji, for your beautiful recitations. Thank you very much. We're just waiting for Vrindavan Chandra Prabhuji to join. So Jyoti Mataji is on the phone asking at what time Prabhuji will join us. So please bear with us.
Hare Krishna Mataji. He's just joining. His computer is playing a bit, but he's there and he's trying to connect.
Okay, so hopefully it'll be in the next few minutes. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, he just said, give me 2 minutes. He just said. Hare Krishna. Mataji, maybe we could do the prayers by the time he joins.
Yes, that's a good idea. So let me see if Shailesh Prabhu is with us. Maybe he's Shailesh Prabhuji, are you able to recite the Mangala Charan for us, please? Okay. So while waiting, I can do the Mangala Charan prayer.
Thank you, Mataji.
Can you all hear me?
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Pada-kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. Thank you. Prabhuji, you on mute?
Thank you, schoolboy era. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for coming to today's chat session. Thank you very much, Sriji Kishori Mataji and Jyoti Mataji for keeping things going. Apologies, just running late today. So many things happening. So I will share my screen. And then, oh, what's happened there? Oh, okay. Okay. Bear with me. Okay, so today we'll discuss verse 51 and 52. Thank you. We've already recited the Mangala Charanam prayers, so we will lead straight into the verse. Shri Namadata Bandunam Droho Yosav Iho Titaha Karma Bir Griyamedhiye Naham Kalpo Vyopo Hitam. Word for word synonyms. Shrinam, Shrinam of the woman, Mat by me, Atabandunam of the friends who were killed, Droha enmity, Ya that, Ashu all those, Ea with, Utitaha has accrued, Karma bir by dint of work, Griyamediye by persons engaged in material welfare, Na never, Aham high, Kalpa can expect, Via pohitum undoing the same. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I have killed many friends of women, and I have thus caused enmity to such an extent that it is not possible to undo it by material welfare work. Purport. The Griyamedis are those whose only business is to perform welfare work for the sake of material prosperity. Such material prosperity is sometimes hampered by sinful activities, for the materialist is sure to commit sins, even unintentionally, in the course of discharging material duties. To get relief from such sinful reactions, the Vedas prescribe several kinds of sacrifice. It is said in the Vedas that by performing the Ashvamedha Yagya, horse sacrifice, one can get relief even from Brahma Atya, killing of a Brahmana. Yudhishthira Maharaj performed this Ashvamedha Yagya, but he thinks that even by performing such yagyas, it is not possible to get relief from the great sins committed. In war, either the husband or the brother or even the father or sons go to fight. And when they are killed, a fresh enmity is created, and thus a chain of actions and reactions increases, which is not possible to be counted even by thousands of Ashvamedha Yagyas. The way of work, karma, is like that. It creates one action and another reaction simultaneously, and thus increases the chain of material activities, binding the performer in material bondage. In the Bhagavad Gita 9:27-28, the remedy is suggested that such actions and reactions of the path of work can be checked only when the work is done on behalf of the Supreme Lord. The battle of Kurukshetra was actually fought by the will of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, as it is evidenced in his version, and only by his will was Yudhishthira placed on the throne of Hastinapur. Therefore, factually, no sin whatsoever touched the Pandavas, who were only the order carriers of the Lord. For others who declare war out of personal interest, the whole responsibility lies on them. So Maharaj Yudhishthira, feeling very, very aggrieved by the killing of so many people, 640 million, so many men were killed on the battlefield. As we've been discussing, he was morose, and he decided that he would perform an Ashvamedha, a sacrifice. Actually, Maharaj Parikshit gathered that ingredients. But in this verse, although he's performing the Ashvamedha sacrifice, he's got no confidence that he's going to free him from the reactions of his sins. Srila Prabhupada mentions a few interesting points in the Veda, in the purport. Prabhupada talks about this word here, Griyamedi Yai. And normally, our understanding of Griyamedis is those that are engaged in sense gratification. Householders, they see the goal of life to be sense gratification. But in this verse, in this purport, we get another understanding of Griya Medis. And this is maybe a higher, relatively higher level of Griya Medi. And these are people who perform welfare work only for material prosperity. And Prabhupada is saying that such people, they perform sacrifices to get relief from their sinful activities. In the discharge of Griya Medi life, so many sinful activities are there. So they try to counteract it by perform an Ashvamedha sacrifice. And it is said that the Ashvamedha sacrifice is quite powerful, that it can negate serious sins. In Vedic culture, one of the most serious type of sins is to kill a Brahmana. It's called Brahma Atya. Who recognizes this word Brahma Atya? In which song that we sing regularly it features? Or not song, prayer. Anyone?
The offering prayer?
No.
Guru Puja, Prabhuji.
No?
Tulsi Aarti.
Tulsi prayers.
Yeah, Tulsi
Tulsi.
prayers. Yani kani chapapani brahma atyani tani cha tani pranasyanti pradakshina pade pade. So when we circumambulate Tulsi Devi in the morning, after singing the Tulsi Aarti prayers, we recite these prayers. Yani kani chapapani brahma achadi tani kani cha tani pranasyanti pradakshina pade pade. Simply by circumambulating Tulsi Devi, even the worst type of sin, the sin of Brahma Atya, killing a Brahmana, can be alleviated. So Prabhupada is saying that, in the Vedas, generally, this performing of Ashvamedha, one can get relief. And Maharaj performed this. Maharaj Yudhishthira, he performed this Ashvamedha sacrifice. But he was thinking that even by performing such yagyas, it is not possible to get relief from the great sins committed. And Prabhupada explains in the purport that the men that are fighting in the battlefield, they will either be in the category of husband or brother or father or son. Husband, brother, father, or son. These are the categories. And Prabhupada says, you think that, okay, you kill 640 million people, you perform the Ashvamedha sacrifice and all of that. And Prabhupada says, no, that's not how it works. Prabhupada is saying the action and reaction is very complex. And as soon as you perform an action, in normal sense, there will be a reaction, simultaneous reaction. And Prabhupada talks about enmity. The moment these men falling in these four categories are killed, it starts another reaction. Why? Because there is enmity. Like take for example, if a husband is killed, the wife may feel very, very bitter. And she may feel that she may want to take some revenge. Sometimes a brother is killed, and the brothers feel so angry, they feel so resentful that it creates another enmity. Even fathers and sons, and the Vedas are full of examples like this. We know in the pastimes of Lord Ram, Dasharat, inadvertently, he had killed Shravan Kumar. And he was cursed because the parents felt so much of enmity for Dasharat Maharaj doing this. And there are so many other examples where when there was killing, there was so much of enmity that they wanted to take revenge. And it says, they'll take revenge, they'll try to kill, and they'll start a war. And then they'll kill so many on the opposing party. And this just goes on and on and on. And then Prabhupada says that the way of work karma is like that. It creates one action and another reaction simultaneously. And Prabhupada quotes the Bhagavad Gita. Let's see, the verse 927, where Krishna says, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, and whatever austerities you perform, do that, O son of Kunti, as an offering to me. And the next verse 28, Krishna says, in this way you will be freed from bondage to work and its auspicious and inauspicious results. With your mind fixed on me, in this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and you will come to me. So in the Bhagavad Gita, this is one of the main points of discussion. The Lord talks about how we are bound in this material world. And the Lord talks about different ways in which we are bound. We are bound by our karma. And Krishna talks so much about karma. And we are bound by the modes of material nature. And everyone is inextricably bound by the karma, except one type of person. And that is the person who performs actions under the direction and under the will of the Lord. And Srila Prabhupada is explaining that Maharaj Yudhisthira is unduly worried here. There's no need for him to really worry about sinful activities because this battle was fought under the will of Lord Krishna. Therefore, this activity of fighting and killing was karma-free. It was free of any sinful reactions. And Prabhupada said, everyone else who does not work for Krishna, then they will incur sinful reactions. So this applies to us in all spheres of our own life. If we do anything without thinking of Krishna, without thinking of it as following the instructions of Krishna, if we act independently, if we act without the sanction of Krishna, his words, or the spiritual master, then there's definitely will be sin. There definitely will be sin. So the whole process of bhakti yoga is we train firstly by the process of sadhana bhakti. We train ourselves, or we act in a way always trying to please Krishna. In the beginning, it is under the mode of following the rules and regulations. Srila Rupa Goswami has given 64 ways we can please. Included in that are some don'ts also. And if we act in that way, then we can become free from karma. So before we go into the next verse, are there any questions or comments on this verse? No? Okay, if you have any, we can come back later. So we'll move on to the final verse of this chapter. Yata pankena pankampa surayava surakritam bhuta atyam tatavaikam nayatgai marstumarati. Yata, as much as, pankena, by the mud, panka amba, water mixed with mud, surayo, by wine, va, either, surakritam, impurity caused by the slight touch of wine, bhuta atyam, killing of animals, tata, like that, eva, certainly, ekam, one, na, never, yagnai, by the prescribed sacrifices, marstum, to counteract, arati, is worthwhile. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. As it is not possible to filter muddy water through mud, or purify a wine-stained pot with wine, it is not possible to counteract the killing of men by sacrificing animals. Again, this verse is spoken by Maharaj Yudhisthira. Purport: Ashvamedha yagyas or Gomedha yagyas, sacrifices in which a horse or a bull is sacrificed, were not, of course, for the purpose of killing the animals. Lord Chaitanya said that such animals sacrificed on the altar of yagya were rejuvenated and a new life was given to them. It was just to prove the efficacy of the hymns of the Vedas. By recitation of the hymns of the Vedas in the proper way, certainly the performer gets relief from the reactions of sins. But in case of such sacrifices improperly done under inexpert management, surely one has to become responsible for animal sacrifice. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, there is no possibility of performing the yagyas perfectly for want of expert brahmanas who are able to conduct such yagyas. Maharaj Yudhisthira therefore gave a hint to performing sacrifices in the age of Kali. In the Kali Yuga, the only sacrifice recommended is the performance of Harinam Yagya, inaugurated by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But one should not indulge in animal killing and counteract it by performing the Harinam Yagya. Those who are devotees of the Lord never kill an animal for self-interest. And as the Lord ordered Arjuna, they do not refrain from performing the duty of a Kshatriya. The whole purpose, therefore, is served when everything is done for the will of the Lord. This is possible only for the devotees. So, Maharaj Yudhisthira, he is using some very nice analogies and metaphors here. So, you know, the filtration process nowadays, you can filter water by putting it through some sediment. And as it goes through the sediment, all the impurities are captured. And then the water comes out clean. That's how the normal filtration process works. So that sediment is clean, pure sediment. And in this way, water can be but if you put, instead of putting this clean sediment in there, you put mud, and you try to purify the mud, then it doesn't work. Muddy water, you try to purify the muddy water, it doesn't work. You cannot purify muddy water by passing it through mud, because the mud will just make it more muddy. And then the second metaphor used here is purify a wine-stained pot with wine. If we have a pot that has held wine, it becomes red if it's red wine. And if you try to clean it with red wine, it's a fruitless endeavor. It's not possible. So in the same way, Maharaj Yudhishthira is saying it is not possible to counteract the killing of men by sacrificing animals. It's not possible. So he's using this as an argument to justify his current thoughts and feelings. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, I think it's the 5th canto, after describing the hellish planets, Maharaj Parikshit, being a very great and compassionate devotee, he asked Shukadev Goswami, these people are suffering so much in the hellish planets. Can you please suggest a way by which they can become purified by these sins? And who can remember how Shukadev Goswami replied? What method did he recommend? Yes, Novita, Mataji?
Sorry, Prabhuji, it's me, Venkat. And
sorry.
you I think he first suggests the atonement process, doing some Vedic way of doing the. Then Parikshit Maharaj asks how will it work. People keep doing. Then he suggests the bhakti yoga, the devotion service.
Yes, that's correct, Prabhu. First, Shukadev Goswami was testing Maharaj Parikshit. He said, prayischita, atonement. By the process of atonement, one can become absolved of the reactions of one's sinful activities. And Maharaj Parikshit rejected that, and he quoted one example. Prabhu, you must know that example he quoted.
Yes, Prabhu, it's Ajamil pastime.
No, he said about the elephant. The elephant,
the elephant. Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, the elephant goes, it takes a bath, it cleanses itself, and then as soon as it comes out, it puts mud on its body again. And Maharaj Parikshit said, if we observe these people that perform these atonement processes, we see that they atone for it, but then very shortly thereafter, they go and commit sinful activities again. And he rejected that, and he said, don't, you're telling Shukadev Goswami, please tell me the truth. Don't try to trick me. Because all other processes, it cannot address the seed of sin, the bij. Only devotional service can do that. Only devotional service. And Prabhupada says in the purport, Maharaj Yudhishthira gives a hint that in this age of Kali Yuga, the only sacrifice is Harinam Yagya. Prabhupada is saying that this indirectly Maharaj Yudhishthira is saying sacrificing animals don't work. And he was trying to lead us to the point of Harinam Yagya. Because Harinam, the chanting of the holy names, is so powerful, it can get rid of all types of sins and even the bij, the propensity or the proclivity to sin. Prabhupada makes an important point in the purport. One should not think, yes, Harinam is so powerful that when I kill the Brahmana, then I will chant Harinam, and then I will counteract. One of the 10 offenses of the holy name is to commit the sinful activities on the strength of chanting the holy name of the Lord. I'm thinking, yes, the holy name is so powerful that whatever sins I can do will certainly be counteracted. That is an offense to Nam Prabhu, and one will not get the results of chanting if one ever has such a mentality. Yes, I'm, I may be committing sins, but the holy name will counteract it. A devotee never thinks like that. A devotee will think, let me get the reactions of the sins I unknowingly commit. But one will never use Nam Prabhu as one's own servant. One is Nam Prabhu is Krishna. The holy name and Krishna are not different. So just like we will not, a devotee will never think of how we could use Krishna in our service. In the same way, a devotee will never think how to use Nam Prabhu in our service. So okay, I think we will stop there. There was one verse I wanted to quote. It was one of my favorite verses. Let me just see if I can quickly get it. Such a beautiful verse from the Bhagavatam. In the meantime, you can think if you have any questions. Where is that verse now?
Hare Krishna, Vrindavan, Chandra
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna, Mataji.
Prabhu, no question, but it's just a little comment.
Yes.
That, I was just thinking about the atonement.
Yes.
And it just reminds us about, all the Christians, whole during the week they commit sin, and then on Sunday they go to the church and then they just pray. And then again, from the Monday they're same. So for their belief is, like if they go to the church and pray, their sins get nullified. But in our Shastra, it's okay, once, twice, or 3 times God can, forgive. But if you keep on committing, then, it's sin. God will not forgive after, if repeatedly and knowingly you are doing so.
Yes.
That's just reminded me of that. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, in the other religions, they have this process of atonement. And then we see, despite them atoning, the effect is still there. I'm not finding that verse. Anyway, any other questions or reflections by anyone on today's discussion? Comments or realizations? I'll share the verse maybe on the forum. So we are going to change the format of how we do our classes going forward. Some devotees have expressed that the pace that we are going, yes, it's nice, but it's going to take us a very long time to complete the Srimad Bhagavatam. So we are going to use this book, Bhagavat Subhodhini, compiled by the Bhaktivedanta Vidyapith. It's a beautiful book. And this book groups verses together in different themes. And what we're going to attempt to do going forward, instead of covering one verse and one purport, we will cover a section of verses. And as far as possible, we'll try to do justice to both the verse and the purport. but we will be trying to go a little quicker. Now, what it may require all of the attendees to do is to make sure that before our session, we read all of the verses in the purport. And in this way, you know, we can churn it a bit better. Any thoughts on that, moving forward on that basis? Okay, I'll come back to the question on the chat. Any thoughts on that, dear devotees?
Prabhu, which book you are going to use? Sorry, can you please repeat?
We'll be using the Bhagavat Subhodhini, this book.
Bhagavat Subhodhini.
Yeah.
So it means then we all have to have this book,
No,
right?
no, not necessary. It's just for the facilitators.
Uh-huh.
So the facilitators would use that as a guide, and Divya Gaurangi Mataji, who allocates the verses for the facilitators, he will use that. And in this way, you know, we can move forward quicker.
So will we know that in each is, so then we also, that everybody will know what verses you're going to do every day?
Yes.
So then everybody read it and be prepared.
Yes.
Okay.
Can I suggest something as well, Prabhuji?
Oh, Sailesh Prabhu, you were very instrumental in making the suggestion.
Sorry, I hope I haven't been a troublemaker in this. I hope, please forgive me if that was the case. It wasn't meant to be that way.
No,
I have a suggestion just for your consideration, Prabhuji, and the facilitators.
Yeah.
We spend 15 to 20 minutes in doing the recital of the verses, and frankly, very few handful of devotees actually are logged in during that period. Most log in only when the facilitator starts talking. What I would suggest is, rather than cutting out the verse and the purport reading, we actually don't recite all of the half of the chapter or the whole of the chapter, and use that extra 20 minutes as the study period of the verses, and then because you'll be able to do both the verses and the purports in that time, and then we do the study of that group of so verses together. So because I suspect when you ask everyone in the 30 in the group, people will not have read it in reality. So we'll lose some of the taste. Rather than doing the recital every day, we should do the recital right at the start of the chapter and at the end, so that everyone can listen and meditate on the Sanskrit. But then we go into the class, we do the group of verses that we're going to recite by doing the Sanskrit and the purports, the Sanskrit translation and purports of the group of verses that you're going to study for that session, and then do the explanations for that session in that period, so that we utilize the full 45, 50 minutes or whatever the class length is for the study period, and we don't lose 20 minutes in the recital every day when most people aren't logged in anyway. And that way everyone needs to log in earlier in order to catch up with the verses that we're going to recite. So we hear the translation and the purport for those verses, and then we go to the study section of that with the Subodhini, if that's the book of choice. Just a suggestion, Prabhuji, for you to consider.
Okay, we'll take that away, Prabhu. Any other comments or questions on that?
Yeah, seems good idea, Prabhu. Because because like everybody, I know it inspires everybody to recite, but then I think if we recite and then translation and study base, so if it works, that will be good as well.
Okay.
Very good idea. Flesh Prabhu, very good idea. Thank you.
Okay, Hare Krishna. And then I know Vibhuti saying, let's finish Srimad Bhagavatam in this lifetime and then jump onto Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Thank you, Prabhu. 50 years. Remember, it was the pace at which we're going is 50 years.
50 years.
18,000 divided by 365, assuming no break whatsoever, it'll take you 50 years.
Hari Bol.
Anyway, let's see how we can proceed. But anyway, we'll try and accelerate a bit and cover as much as possible. So there was one question on the chat. Indira Mataji asked, "I'm a bit confused about sacrifice of Osyagyas, but Gita says not to kill any entities that can you please clear?" Yes, Mataji, Srila Prabhupada explains that in the purport that in the Ashvamedha sacrifice, either the horse or the bull, they are not killed. By chanting of the Vedic hymns, they are actually given a new body, a fresh body, a more youthful body. So it's not like they are being killed. This is it's a bona fide process, and it's not killing the animals, and the animals don't go through suffering like what other unsavory practices are there in the Vedas. Does that explain it? Oh, is not someone has their hand up? Who has their
Yes,
hand up?
Prabhuji, thank you so much. Yeah, that explains. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I had my hand up. I just had a little suggestion that regarding recital, is it possible to start the program a bit early? So there are a lot of people who like to recite and it's their service and they really enjoy, even if 2% or 1% is logged in, it doesn't matter. For those kids to read the translation and for the recital people to recite, it benefits them so much, even no one is listening. So if the program is started early, just a suggestion, like says 15 minutes early, and it's for the people who want to recite and you want to participate in giving translation.
Okay, Martha, I'm conscious of that. I know some people don't attend all the sessions, but they're on the rota to recite, and they take great inspiration by reciting. So I'm conscious of that too. We'll consider that, Mataji, your suggestion.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Okay. If there's no other questions or comments, we'll close today's session. Thank you very much for your attendance and participation. All glories to your service. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha.
Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namo.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji.